Welcome to a Cased Closed review for spring 2014. My name is Kate, otherwise known as Narataki.
And I'm Alan, otherwise known as Hisui.
We are from ReverseThieves.com. You can go there to get other Case Closed reviews, our monthly Speakeasy podcast, and upcoming S.W.A.T reviews for the new season.
And this time, we are closing out Ping Pong the Animation from Tatsunoko Productions, and it is streaming on Hulu and Funimation.
I feel like this was kind of a show a lot of people were watching. It was a Noitamina show for the season, and the director was Misaki Yuasa, well known for sort of his stylistic animation.
I don't think a lot of people were watching in general, but I feel like anybody who was like a kind of the Twitterverse and the blogosphere in both the anime community and the animation community was keeping an eye on this show. So it was kind of a prestige title.
And it was a sports title, which I think we've been getting a lot more of those lately, but at the same time, I feel like people aren't always watching the sports shows, so it was nice. And I've never watched a ping pong title before, and I don't really know a lot about ping pong. I mean, I know a lot about tennis, but it's really not the same.
And it's that ping pong club.
Yeah, this is like not professional ping pong, but I mean, you know, like for serious ping pongs.
Well, also Ping Pong Club's major claim to fame is it's ichi comedy more than it's in sports drama.
The series started off with Smile and Pecco, these two friends, but they're very opposites to each other. You know, Pecco's kind of the boisterous, outgoing type, and Smile is, quote, robotic and very quiet, but they both play ping pong in the school. And then kind of the whole premise of the show really is that they get to the point in their lives where they're starting to be in tournaments and it's like a big deal, and whether or not, you know, they're gonna like do the training necessary to really continue playing ping pong, or is it over for them? I guess I feel like that's sort of the thing that's happening at the beginning. And of course the answer is that they will train and they will love ping pong and they will find out who is man and who's got it.
I find it really interesting that at the beginning of this series, you think that Smiley is the main character. And
I thought he was going to be too.
And it seems like Pecco is just his comic relief sidekick. And
even though Pecco is talented.
Pecco seems so boisterous, and he's got all this game, and like, you know, he's going to be defeated when he gets up against the real opponent, and he does, and he kind of drops out of the show, and you're like, oh, so it's just going to be about Smiley, I see. Alright. And then, like, Pecco comes back, and it's like really, it's almost like he was like the star of the show. It's not like Smiley just, you know, drops off a cliff or something, but like, it really, the beginning, you would not think that he is as important as he is to the end.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the kind of the arc of that, because Smiley, the problem with him is not that he's like a bad dude or anything, but, you know, that type of personality, I feel like, is really hard to connect with. And I mean, and that's sort of his whole, I mean, that's the whole thing with why he gets bullied and everything, is because you don't have that human connection. And I feel like as a viewer, I had that problem too. So when, I mean, I was the same as you, Al. I thought he was sort of the main character, but I at least had Pecco as sort of this fun side guy that I could root for. So then when he sort of disappears in the middle, I was a little, like, my interest dropped a bit. I was like, oh, you know, like, yeah, I mean, okay, I get it, but at the same time, it's hard for me to accept, because I didn't dislike Smile, you know, I wasn't as excited when Pecco was not in the picture.
And it's that little stretch in the middle where you just think, wow, it's just all going to be about Smiley? This isn't going to be that interesting. Oh. And it doesn't help that they also focus a lot on Dragon.
Oh, gosh! Man, there is nobody in the show I was, like, really always hoping for him to lose at all times. I mean, even though we kept learning about him, I don't know. Nothing about him made me have any real tension in the later scenes, because I just wanted him to lose, even though I knew a lot about him. Like, I felt like the better, more interesting character ended up being Kong, who is
Oh, and he also drops off in those middle episodes, which once again make one or two of those middle episodes kind of like checking your watch time.
Because Kong, shows up at the beginning. He's from China. He's sort of been exiled from his team because he's a big jerk. And then he kind of is trying to redeem himself, but it's not really working out. And, in the middle, I actually realized that the most interesting characters, I feel like, in the series are actually the characters that lose in those center episodes. They end up being the most compelling characters in the series, I think.
Because I think you always like Pekka, but Kong starts out so, detestable. You think he's gonna be the big villain character, and then when he loses, so simply, and he's just so broken, you're like, well, I guess he's, out of the picture. And then you just see him do that, human turnaround, where, once again, the part where his mom comes and visits him, and,
just his whole past with her, his whole relationship with his mom, and then him with the team. Finally kind of taking on the role as being sort of the senpai of the team and teaching them. Yeah, it made such a difference. And so I kind of wanted him to be, the big bad. Not that he was bad, but sort of be, the big obstacle at the end. Because I think that would have been the more compelling battle, because to me, he was just the more interesting character. So, of course you want your favorite, the main character to win, but then you're kind of conflicted, whereas with Dragon, I'm like, oh God, please lose. I hope you lose. It was very interesting to me to see that really the characters that, I guess it makes sense that the characters that grow most are the ones that lose. But I was kind of surprised to kind of note it as it was going on. And then I was really pleased with the ending, though, emotionally. Mm-hmm. And I think that it really felt satisfying, and I feel like Peko and Smile get to, this amazing place, and it feels like it was all worth it, everything that happened up until that point. I really liked that. Peko was just a great character. I think that I was pleased and thought they'd thoughtfully, make everything from the beginning as connected to the end. It was very, things that came back or themes or things that were said were all relevant. Obviously, it's based on a work, and they've made a movie of it and such. So, they have something to sort of ground it. But I thought that it was really thoughtful and how it kind of all came together.
Do you know that even a few people who are a little more on the hoity-toity side have been hesitant to watch the show because of the animation?
Why? Wait, they don't like the animation?
Yeah.
Oh, the animation's great!
Yeah, I know there was one or two people who were like, yeah, I haven't watched Ping Pong after watching the first 2 episodes and not liking it.
Oh man, I love the animation, and I'm not a big Yuasa fan personally. Not like I totally dislike him or anything as a director, but I feel like I need him to have sort of a grounded story that he has to go with.
Yeah, definitely. He's best when he's adapting something. I like Tatami Galaxy, I like this, because have flourishes, but they don't overtake the narrative, where I feel like that's my problem with his original stories. He just goes into these flights of fancy that I don't feel like they kind of pay off. They're just kind of animation for animation's sake a lot of times, whereas he has to remember, all right, I still have to tell this story that this other person is telling, and I feel like he has to then he can go and be fantastical, but then come back to the real world and have some kind of grounding.
So wait, I don't understand if you're artsy, why you wouldn't want to watch the show.
I don't know.
It has everything. It has I feel like you can't be artsy and only slick animation, because that's the complete opposite of what that's those things are not
I wonder if it's just too rough for them.
But I feel like it's I think it's thoughtful in the way that it's executed. I think that it gives it all of this, the tactileness of it. I think it adds to the tension. I think It adds to the sport. I mean, also one of those things I feel like you constantly hear lobbed at anime or anything in general is like, oh, everybody's so pretty, everybody's good looking, and like that is, not a problem in ping pong.
I think the only one who's supposed to be attractive is like Dragon's cousin / girlfriend.
And she's just like cute. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
she is the closest that you come to like attractive person character.
So I feel like it's got a lot, and I also, as anime has been able to do multiple times, I think it can get you really into a sport in the context of the show, even if you don't care about it otherwise. Like, I still don't care about ping pong in real life, but
yeah, and like how sometimes they'd be like, he's choosing that kind of paddle because that type of front grip lets him do this, and that type of back grip. I'm like, all right. Whatever. Those are words that are washing over me.
Yeah. I was like, the only thing I always got was like, oh, okay, they want that one so that they can flip it fast. Like, that's the only thing I understood about Petko's playing style was that he could flip the paddle, like, front and back, like, really quickly. And that was, like, part of, like...
And it changed up his style to make him unpredictable.
Exactly. So that was, like, the thing. And anything else mentioned in the whole show about the actual sport of ping pong, I don't understand. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's an emotional journey.
It's essentially the ping pong equivalent of technobabble.
And in the end, like, I think people will kind of be impressed with the ending just because I feel like it's not about the match. It's not about the game. It's
Well, I feel like it's not about the points in the match. It's about the emotions, the two final players, how they're bouncing off each other and how the audience is bouncing off them. That's what's important. It could be a complete shutout game. It could be a close nail-biting game. It doesn't matter.
And actually, we don't know. Like, we don't know the answer. I mean, we know who won, but we don't ultimately know, like...
what the score is, and it doesn't matter. It's like, it's what those two people are feeling at that moment that really matters much more than 2-3, 18-6.
So, it was great. I really, really was very impressed. As I said, I thought it went down a little bit for me in the middle, like the middle two episodes or so. I mean, it's pretty short, so I feel like you can get past it and you'll be fine, but I did struggle a little bit in the center.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I just mentioned that Petko comes back. I feel like that might be a minor spoiler, but I think it's really important because if you're not turned off by the art style, and that you might get stuck on those middle episodes because you're like, they are kind of just like this gray period. But then there's like that bright renaissance of color. And if you just realize that it's coming, it's fine. Because it might be like, wow, this is going to be a slog for the rest of the series. But if you realize, this is just so when, people start making their comebacks, it's even better. All right, a positive review. Let's hope that the next one will be as such.